Shalom, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone who would teach us truth and sincerity. And a shout out to Yakim that's out there on the four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. Bracha the Yahweh, Bracha the Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, Bracha Dum. So it doesn't take a genius to figure out what's going on here. If you're seeing deja vu all over again, it's because you are. Especially those of you that grew up in the 60s, you know, late 60s, and saw everything that was going on, you know, and saw the news all the way leading into what you better known as the Vietnam War, you know, for those that grew up after the war, or who have watched tapes on it. You're seeing deja vu all over again, you know, with the Sea of Oman incident. And in fact, Press TV is using the same wording that I've already had coined it as, that it's pretty much a repeat of the Gulf of Tonkin incident, you know, where they had launched into the Vietnam War, which is what you're going to see now. You're going to see deja vu all over again, except this one's going to be a lot different than Vietnam was. This one's going to be the third woe that cometh quickly. So expect the news to be totally covered on Iran and a reason to go to war with Iran, even though the rest of the world knows that Iran has nothing to do with these incidents. They'll know that this was a false flag. The U.S. is not going to have its support like it normally does, especially, you know, with all the terrorism that they brought into Syria and Iraq. You know, some are calling this Iraq 2.0, but they're not going to have all the support because the rest of the EU nations and the UN NATO does not support a war against Iran. In fact, still wanted to trade back and forth with Iran. And so what's going to happen is they're going to side with Magog. You know, they'll play the game a little bit and all that, you know, and still try to work with the U.S., but they're all eventually going to turn on her anyways. And that's going to be a good thing, you know, because these shall hate the whore and utterly burn her with fire when they all fire nukes upon this place. And that'll be a good thing, but before all that can happen, you know what's got to happen. And you can see that, though. They're bringing in the famine of the word, you know. They pretty much, though, you got to go through the new YouTube guidelines to even put videos up. And if they deem it as hate speech, well, they can put more strikes on your channel and eventually terminate your channel, you know. Because, well, what does the word hate mean anyways? When you don't like something, right? So is everything going on in the world today things that you ought to like, or are they things that you do not like? So let's just get down to that. You see how these things are carefully worded, but it's mostly to weed out the actual truth, you know, that's out there, which includes alternative media, which includes, you know, the truth, you know, which is who Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is, who the prophets are, and the true doctrine, you know. Because, of course, you know, as they start pulling down our videos and all that, they'll probably still keep IUIC up long enough. Eventually, they'll be taken down, too, because, of course, they were a part of it. But they, you know, want to put us, mold us into, you know, black extremists. But we have nothing to do with any black extremist groups. Because you have many confusion of faces like myself that are coming out and standing on their own 2 feet, proclaiming this word of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai as well. So, you know, it's really hard to put a label on when you have confusion of faces doing it, and you have Latinos and Native Americans, so you can't really throw that name black on anything. But, you know, that's what Esau Edom does, you know, changes everything, changes the terms, you know, because he's the one that likes to change language. So, here's what's going on. Habakkuk chapter 2. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but in the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it. Because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And what's that talking about? These prophecies. And the fact that we're going to go out and prophesy. So everything that we're prophesying is going to happen. And it's going to happen a lot more sooner than what you think. Look at how fast these things are coming. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith, you know. And what's that talking about? It's talking about Edomites, you know, which seems to be what the 2/3 seem to always want to follow, is the Edomites. You know, they want to say that, you know, oh, well, the Arabs are the Edomites. Well, then what the hell happened to Ishmael, if that be the case? Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. And what is this wine? You know, it says democracies, it says, philosophies. It's everything, pretty much in a whole. Because Babylon the Great is a multitude of kingdoms all rolled up into one. This is the worst of our captivity. Who enlarges his desire is hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. Neither does he keep it at home. There's air bases all around the world. Pretty much, rather than dealing with the problems over here now, he's got to get into everybody else's business. And he has no. He doesn't have the right to talk about human rights when he can't even get it right over here. But gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people, which is what Babylon the Great is. Pretty much his policies, everything that he does. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that of which is not his? How long to him that laddeth himself with thick clay? So basically, they're getting tired of it. Iraq has been, wanting America out of there. As well as all these other countries, man. They want their countries back. They're sick of America being there. Shall they not rise up suddenly, that shall bite thee, and awake, that shall vex thee? And thou shalt be booties unto them, because thou hast spoiled many nations. All the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land of the city, and all that dwell therein. So pretty much, though, what's going to happen is all these are going to take a proverb against them, because what we're watching is the walls of Jericho effect. And I say that on numerous occasions, because what's happening is everyone is getting sick of the Edomites, man. The Edomites have destroyed everything, and they want to take it back. Look at South Africa. They want to take it back. Woe to him that covet an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. And of course, because how do you think America was established? Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establish a city by iniquity. That's exactly how America was founded, pretty much. And the only reason why it's being kept up and built up is because you have 2/3 Jakes that are in the military. You have 2/3 Jakes that are still in the workforce. You have 2/3 Jakes that are going around driving Ubers. You have 2/3 Jakes that are driving the trucks. So that's what's keeping this thing barely hanging on. But you see, all that is ceasing, because the mirth of this place is pretty much been taken away. And they're doing that on purpose, because they want everybody on the RFID. Because part of Jacob's trouble is the RFID, mark of the beast. That you will not be able to buy, sell, or trade unless you receive that mark. If you're in the military, you've already received that mark. They put that in you. If you're in the police force, they've already put that in you. Behold, it is not of the Most High of hosts that the people shall labor in the very fire, and the people shall weary themselves for very vanity. So it was never the Most High's will. You work, countless hours just for a paycheck, which is to buy rights that you should normally have. That's all them papers are, really, is to buy rights that you should already have. You should be allowed to grow your own food. You should be able to have water and have all those pleasant things. But no, you got to go buy it from the store. You got to pay for water. You got to pay for electricity. These are all things that you should already have. For the earth is filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Most High, as the waters cover the sea. So what does that mean? That means that we've gone out and we've taught, and this knowledge is out there. You can grab it right now, but the famine of the word is right around the corner. Woe to him that giveth the neighbor drink, that putteth the bottle to him, and maketh him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. So what's that talking about? Well, that's pretty much those that once had this truth, but then start teaching another doctrine. It's a lot of things, pretty much. When you're going off and you're teaching other philosophies, like the Christians do. They say it's okay to eat pork, because that law was done away with. Thou art filled with shame and glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Most High's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. For the violence of Lebanon shall cover thee, and the spoil of beasts which made them afraid because of men's blood, for the violence of the land of the city and all that dwell therein. And again, nothing but violence here. There are so many ways to die in this city or any city here. And a lot of times people won't even know that you're dead, you know, or that you've been dead. Because, oh man, they are just quickly only worried about themselves, you know. So they could walk by you. You could be dead on this sidewalk here. And nobody would give a shit. You just take a look at the Ready Homeless channel. You can see, though, that there's been people that have been dead for a while, and the police and everybody else just walks on by. Happened over there right by Safeway. Not too far from South Street. You know, and that person's been dead for quite a while. Nobody even noticed it. You know, so like everything else, though, you know that this place is about to be destroyed by fire. But you're going to see more and more news events about Iran. It's going to be loaded with propaganda before they finally start firing upon Iran. You know, they're going to be setting off more false flags. And they're going to amp it up so much that people are actually going to think that they're fighting for Israel. But that's not the real Israel. That's Amalek. So they're going to fight for those bastards from Ashdod. And going to think that they're fighting, quote-unquote, a holy war. You know? And that's what the Most High will allow them to believe. Because they don't want to come to the realization that they're Israelites. Or they don't want to come to the realization that, you know, there's not the real Israelites. You know, they'd rather believe the lie. And still worship Caesar Borgia. And still worship all the things that they were taught, even though we're teaching the real gospel, which is the new song. They don't want to hear this new song. They like the old song. Give me that old-time religion. Well, that's just it, though, is that that's coming to a head also. So I hope all this has been edifying. Get this while you can. And until next time, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakakadash, Barak Wa Abba Vabal.